Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Susie and this is Irunthings. And in this channel, I talk a lot about running. I vlog myself running, I go to races and I vlog as well. So if you're interested in this type of content, please stick around, hit the subscribe button and like this video. So this past weekend, I ran the Jersey City half marathon. There's a vlog up here that you can go check out. However, I figured I could do a review for you and rate this race since it was an absolute success in terms of participants for an inaugural race. These are the things we are going to review. We will review the sign up process, bib pickup, the swag, the t-shirt and the medal. We will review the course. We will talk about the volunteers, and then we will also talk about the finish line and all the extra perks that races usually have on the course for runners. So if this sounds like something you're interested in, please continue watching. Let's talk first about the sign up. The signing process was very, I would say, it's fast because it's done through the Ryan sign up page. However, they sold out of everything within, I'm gonna say, probably a month. So they have 5,000 spots. They sold out of all 5,000 spots for the half marathon and the marathon combined pretty quickly, which is an absolute success for a race on the first year of happening. Nobody was familiar with the race and then they sold out. So I emailed the organizers just to see if they would release more spots. They never answered me, and I am someone that actually, because of my YouTube channel, emails race organizers, race directors pretty often. And this is the first time that a race director never answers me, just for what it's worth. I think it's a woman, a lady. She never answered my email. I did receive an email later on that was just an email sent to, I think, pretty much everybody, telling about how they had run out of spots and they were trying to negotiate with the township in Jersey City to get more spots available for runners, which it did happen. So what happened, how I got a bib, was 3 days or 4 days before the race actually was going to happen. I went to the site and they had a wait list. I signed up for the wait list and I was number 1 on the wait list, and within 30 seconds I got a bib. So the race itself costs a little bit of an arm and a leg, in my opinion, for a race in Jersey City. Other races in Jersey City are not this expensive. I paid with my own money $160, which again, to me, was a little bit more expensive than other races I've run. When you run with the New York Road Runners, for example, you can run a race in Central Park for $80, $90. So again, for what it's worth, I thought that price-wise, this was a little bit on the high end, but I was very excited to run it. So I pulled out my credit card and I paid the money. Bib pickup, I can't say anything about bib pickup because a friend of mine who lives in Jersey City just went to the expo the day before and got the bib for me, and also got the t-shirt, so that it was very easy to just get everything, and it was pretty small. So I can't talk about what was on the expo itself. If you guys went to the expo, comment below and let the rest of us know how that expo was. In terms of swag, you get the t-shirt, which is a nice tech t-shirt. It has the sponsors on the back of the t-shirt, and the medal, I have it right here. Let me show it to you. This is the medal. So to me, I'm from Spain. The t-shirt and everything reminds me of Spain because it's yellow and red, which is the colors of the flag of Spain. And then the polka dots, honestly, they're very Spanish too. And then this gate, it looks like it could be out of like the cathedral in Seville in the south of Spain or something. So I don't know, maybe I'm just reading too much into it. Again, my personal opinion, this is what I think of it. And then the door opens and here's the medal, and it's really neat. And I like that it is inclusive because it has the female runner and the male runner. And I think that's an added bonus to me in my pocket. So let's put it back. Okay, now we are going to talk about the course itself. The course is, to me, was the kind of the worst part of really the race. It's not exciting at all. Guys, if you're looking for like a scenic race, this is not the race. Sign up for another one because this is not your race. It starts in Newport Green, but not really. It could have started in Newport Green, which is the park, but it doesn't start there. It starts like closer to like downtown Jersey City. You run through all the big buildings, and then very quickly you go into brownstones. Again, they could have used other streets, and we as runners, I think, would have really enjoyed running through other areas of Jersey City, not the areas that they put us through. Both the half marathon and the marathon do basically the same race, the same course. The marathon loops around again. So what that meant is that you could only utilize, going out, you could only utilize half the street, because then the marathoners come back and go on the other side. So the other side of the street was for the marathoners that were coming back, which meant it was really, really crowded for 6,000 people running through, like, basically, for the most part, just one lane on the street. 80% of the course felt very crowded. Another problem also to me, sounds like everything this race is negative. Bear with me because there's some positives too. But the problem with it being so crowded is that really you could not pass anybody, because it was very, for the most part, again, very narrow, and then you could not pass people. But to me, the major mistake is that the corrals were not really properly manned. And what I mean by that is there was like a lane for you to get into your corral, and corrals were assigned according to projected finish time. However, no one was checking the bibs. So I know for a fact there were people in my corral, which was corral 6, which was people finishing the half anywhere in between 1:55 and like 2:15 that were not running at that speed whatsoever. I had people in front of me that were running 11-minute miles. They were completely out of place. That was not their corral, almost for sure, because there were too many people running 11-minute miles. I think there were so many, it was so convoluted at the start line with the corral situation that I think people were just going in whatever they saw a spot, they just went in. So again, I think the race would have benefited from better monitoring of who's accessing which corrals and are they in the right corral, because it's on the honor system, and I don't think it should be on the honor system when you have 6,000 runners. This race is too big to have runners just go into their corrals without them being checked properly. Going back to the course, when you're running through, the closer to the water you're running, you really don't get to see much of the skyline of Manhattan, which is, I think it would have been a nice added bonus for the race. They could have put us on the outer loop of the park, and then we would have run next to the Hudson River, and it would have been gorgeous, even with the rain, because it was raining. At least we would have been able to see that. But it goes into the park, and then it quickly goes out, and then it puts you through like an area where there's just like brushes to one side and brushes to the other side. There's nothing really for like 2 or 3 miles. And then after that, we hit the only hill in Jersey City. They decided to run the course through that hill. So there's a hill up and a hill down. I think it basically goes over the train tracks, or the path tracks. I don't know if it's a train or the path, but there's tracks underneath. Yeah, and then after that, there's a lot of big nothingness. There's nothing interesting in the whole course till you are in mile 11 for the half. And then you go back into downtown Jersey City proper, and then it gets a little bit more interesting, but not really. There were not very many spectators either, which to me, this is the race. Being in a big city like Jersey City, to me, that was kind of weird. It was like solitary spectators in random places, but not really a lot of people. Not even towards the finish line, which brings me to something else. They did not have mile markers. So I think I only saw the mile marker for like the 5K, the 10K, and the 20K. They did not have a mile marker like when you're getting closer to the finish line. I would have appreciated knowing that I was closer to the finish line, because the finish line, you actually make a right turn and then the finish is right there. So I could only like push myself to run faster when I saw the finish. And I definitely, I mean, not that it would have made a huge difference, but I would have pushed further ahead and not that close to the finish line. Because again, I didn't know how close the finish line was because nobody was saying anything and spectators were not saying anything to the runners, and there was not a marker there saying half a mile left or 13 miles. I would have appreciated like the 13-mile marker. That would have been nice, because based on your watch, you don't know how much you've been moving in and out, and you don't know how much more you have added on your watch. So yeah, more mile markers, you guys. If you can make them happen every mile, which would be tremendously very nice and very helpful, at least when you're getting closer to the finish, let us know that we're close to the finish, please. A big pet peeve of mine was with the water stations. This was all an organization cluster, pardon my French, because they put the Powerade, it was not Powerade, it was another brand, but they put that first, which is not unusual, but usually big races, they have the tables consecutively, so you have the water, the Powerade, or the electrolyte drink, you have it there, and then you have the water, or the water and then the electrolyte drink, but they are like one after the other. At this race, I don't know who made that executive decision, but there was a space in between the electrolyte drinks and then the water, which meant for people like me, because I was carrying my goose and I wanted to have goose and water, to me, that was weird because I missed the whole first tables, and that was electrolyte drinks. And I was like, they didn't miss the water? I didn't have the water. Like, where did they have the water? And then the water was there. So it was weird. But also what it meant is that it would slow down a lot of the runners, because not everybody is aware that if you don't pick up water in every water station, you don't know. So if you wait to pick it up to like the third or the fourth water station, it was very jammy. It was like everybody would stop and try and get the water, and they were like, no water, no water. And then you keep going. It's like, where's the water? And then the water would be ahead. So that was weird. Also, the water tables were much smaller. In a couple of the water tables, they didn't have water, which it was not a hot day. It's okay, but it was just not well handled. There were a lot more volunteers, at least when I ran it, in the period that I ran the race. I don't know if they fixed it for later, or if it was okay before I went by, but they had too many people manning the electrolyte drinks and too many tables, and then less tables and a lot less people with the water. Again, I don't know. There was kind of, to me, that wasn't handled properly. Also, another thing that to me was weird is that they had the gels, which I actually grabbed one because it was a brand that I had never tried, so I kept it on me so I could try it in the long run. But it was on mile 2, I think, or mile 4, which to me was like, usually they're later, but maybe that was because the marathoners go another loop, and maybe that was more geared towards the marathoners. To me, that was weird, but it was okay. It was not like a big no for me. It's just that they were in a weird spot and you had to be aware of it. And there was only one woman at the point when I ran through that table to that station. She was the only person handling gels, which again, I thought this race was hugely understaffed. They needed more volunteers. To me, that's what it comes down to. It was just not sufficient amount of volunteers, again, for 6,000 runners. Once you cross the finish line, they were handling the medals there. Again, there were not enough people handling medals. When I crossed, I had to stop and just wait and let the guy who was handling the medals breathe a little bit, because he was getting very antsy, like trying to get the medals, like, medal. He actually let 2 dropped on the ground, which, you know, they might like get scuffed. So I don't know. You don't want your medal to be scuffed from the get-go. So, but 2 of them fell on the floor. It was not his fault. He was just trying to be efficient and give them fast. And there were so many people crossing the finish line in that particular time that he was getting very antsy. So I got to him and I said, take your time, don't let it drop. And then he gave it to me. Again, he was just trying to do the best, but he was the only one handling the medals. I didn't see anybody else when I crossed the finish line. So yeah, too many people crossing the finish line for just the one guy handling medals. Once you go into the chute towards the end, at that point I was done. I was done with the rain. I was run with the course. I didn't have a good race. I didn't want to hang out. So I went back to the parking lot, which, by the way, the whole parking lot situation was not handled well either. I think they were, again, it's 6,000 runners, potentially a lot of them coming from out of town. One of the parking lots that a lot of people park when they ran in the area, it was completely shut down. Nobody could park there, and they were putting everybody in 2 other parking lots. I was at West, so yeah, they could have put everybody else in the other parking lot, and we would have been closer to the start and the finish. We were further. Okay, no biggie. I guess you're tired at the end. I would have welcomed to be in the closer parking lot. But the unintended consequence of this is that you had to walk far to go back to your car, and you also had to go in the complete opposite direction to get a bagel. So that was like, I think that the straw that broke the camel's back for a lot of people. I heard from a lot of my friends that they were very annoyed that they had to walk like 3/4 of a mile to get the bagel, and then walk back the 3/4 of a mile, and then another half a mile to go to the parking lot. So it's a lot of walking for a race that starts basically in the same spot as it ends. I think there were I'm sure there's other ways to make this more efficient. When I ran Newport Liberty, I think 2 or 3 years ago, which is also basically starts in the same spot in Jersey City, the course was very scenic. Very well organized. I don't know if it's as many runners. It could be that it's a lot less runners. But then when you end, you go to get your bagel to Newport Green. You can sit down on the grass, wait for your friends. They had a DJ there playing music. It was just much more convenient, honestly, because you just can sit there and hang out and relax for a little bit. Also, they allowed people to park in the closer parking lot, so you didn't have to walk far at all from the moment you picked up your food at the end to get to the parking lot. So now we are going to rate this race, and I'm going to put all the ratings right here, and for future videos we will be doing exactly the same thing. So overall, I don't think I would run this race again unless they change entirely the course, because honestly the course was a big nothing burger. There's nothing interesting in this course at all, and in my mind, I was even thinking about the marathoners, how they had to do the loop again. I was like, oh my God, if I had to do the loop again, I would have said, I'm not doing it. Honestly, it was that ugly. Like running around my neighborhood in loops, it's more entertaining than running this course. And I'm really sorry, because it's in the perfect spot on the calendar, especially for a marathon. It's mainly flat, so it could be a great race to like qualify for Boston. It's just that I don't think it's conducive to just draw this kind of attention. Like 6,000 runners, to me, it's a race that could pull 2,000 runners in the future and do it really well, because 2,000 runners, again, you can handle that type of situation, but it's just too many runners for how it was organized, and it needs more volunteers, 100%. More volunteers and a better layout of where the whole runners village is at the end and the beginning and all that. So, and have people check people's bibs going into the corrals, because that was a big pet peeve of mine. Like, it's just, yeah, it was just bad. Okay, so if you like videos like this one, I would encourage you again to subscribe. My next half marathon is Superhero Half Marathon in Morris Township in New Jersey. I've run this race before. I loved it the 1 year that I ran it, and I'll come back to you with a review as well, so you guys can think about signing for races, especially here in the Northeast, which is where I run the most amount of races. This video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe on my face, and if you want to see the video from the Jersey City Half Marathon, the vlog will be right here. And if you want to see the New York City Half, the vlog will be right here. Run fearlessly, guys.